Hey everyone, and welcome to Speak Up. I'm Ryan, and I just want to start by saying a huge thank you for spending your valuable time with us today. We know that your time is precious, and we promise to make every moment count with insights that can really change the way you live and learn. Today, we're diving into something a lot of us struggle with: overthinking. Have you ever found yourself caught in a loop of thoughts, so overwhelmed by possibilities that taking action feels impossible? I know I have. And just like you can learn English fast when you use the right techniques, you can also break free from that cycle of endless pondering. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to shift from just thinking about what to do into actually doing it. Later on, I'll even share a special strategy that works similarly to the shadowing technique for fluency, but designed specifically to help you get moving in real life. So, stick around, because we're about to uncover some really practical, actionable steps that could change your day-to-day approach to challenges.
Hi everyone, I'm Priya, and I'm so glad you decided to join us today on Speak Up. Thank you for choosing to invest your time with us. We truly value it, and we're committed to making it quality time for you. Today, we're tackling a topic that I think a lot of us can relate to: the habit of overthinking. You know those moments when your mind spins in circles, making it hard to start anything at all? I've been there, and I'm sure many of you have too. Imagine if you could quiet that noise and take that first step without being paralyzed by doubt. That's exactly what we're aiming for today. We're going to explore clear, simple steps that can help you move from endless thinking to taking decisive action. Just like using effective techniques to learn English fast can boost your language skills, these strategies can help you overcome the habit of overthinking. I'm excited to share these insights with you, and I hope by the end of our chat, you'll feel ready to take that first step forward. So let's jump right in and explore how to transform those thoughts into real positive action.
Let's start by exploring what overthinking really means. Overthinking is like getting caught in a never-ending loop of repetitive thoughts that stops you from making clear, decisive moves. Imagine spending so much time perfecting every little detail in English grammar made easy before you even try to speak. By the time you're ready, the moment has passed. This constant mental rehashing creates a barrier that prevents you from taking action. It's as if your mind is stuck on replay, looping the same ideas over and over instead of letting you move forward. Today, we want to shed light on how this pattern forms and why it holds you back from seizing opportunities in life. Understanding this is the first step toward breaking free and truly progressing.
Absolutely, Ryan. Let's dig deeper into the nature of overthinking. It begins innocently enough, analyzing situations to avoid mistakes. But soon, that careful thought transforms into a paralyzing cycle of doubt and hesitation. Instead of moving forward, you find yourself endlessly scrutinizing every possible outcome, much like obsessing over every nuance of your pronunciation or vocabulary without ever using them in real conversation. This process not only drains your energy, but also keeps you from embracing new experiences. You end up stuck, unable to make a choice or take the next step, as if you're constantly reviewing and re-reviewing scenarios without ever putting them into action. This habit of overanalysis steals your momentum and leaves you wondering when you'll ever break out of the cycle.
Building on that, let's talk about the tangible effects of overthinking on your everyday life. When you're caught in this cycle, every decision, no matter how small, can feel like a monumental task. This mental gridlock doesn't just hinder big decisions, it seeps into daily routines, making even simple actions feel overwhelming. Think about how focusing too much on common English mistakes might stop you from speaking freely in a conversation. Similarly, overthinking creates a barrier to progress, causing you to miss opportunities because you're stuck in a state of constant evaluation rather than taking action. This pattern can affect work, personal projects, and even how you interact with others, leaving you feeling frustrated and stuck in a loop where progress is perpetually on hold.
Exactly, Ryan. The impact of overthinking extends to every part of your day, subtly influencing how you approach tasks and goals. When you overanalyze even routine decisions, like planning your day or choosing the next step in a project, can become paralyzing. Imagine using an English vocabulary builder app constantly to refine your word choices, yet never stepping into a conversation because you're afraid of making an error. That's what overthinking does. It creates an invisible barrier that prevents you from taking any risk, even when those risks are necessary for growth. It leaves you reviewing possibilities over and over, which not only delays progress, but also chips away at your confidence. Recognizing this effect is crucial, as it empowers you to start replacing endless thought with decisive action, paving the way for real tangible progress in life.
Now, let's dive into recognizing the signs and patterns of overthinking. Overthinking often shows up as a cycle of indecision, constant self-doubt, and a tendency to delay taking action until you feel everything is perfect. Think of it like this. When you're trying to figure out how to think in English, you might get so caught up in perfect grammar or choosing just the right words that you never allow yourself to speak freely. That struggle to get it right every single time creates a mental loop where you're stuck revisiting the same thoughts over and over. Instead of embracing natural conversation, you find yourself questioning every sentence and every decision. This cycle can leave you feeling paralyzed, preventing you from moving forward both in language learning and in everyday life. Recognizing these clear signs, when you're constantly second-guessing your choices or delaying actions because nothing seems good enough, is the first step towards breaking free of this unproductive habit.
I completely agree, Ryan. Recognizing these patterns is vital because it helps us understand why we sometimes get in our own way. Picture those moments when you're about to engage in a lively conversation, yet you hesitate because you're worried about making a mistake. Much like when you're trying to navigate the challenges of how to think in English. That hesitation, that nagging self-doubt, is a clear sign of overthinking at work. It's as if you're waiting for a flawless script before you even begin to speak. This state of mind often shows up as procrastination in our daily routines, whether it's delaying a decision at work or holding back on starting a new project. Instead of moving ahead with confidence, you end up trapped in a cycle of endless planning and over-analysis. Recognizing these patterns allows us to pinpoint where we're stuck and opens the door to change, so we can start trusting our instincts and taking those necessary steps forward.
Let's now look at some real-life examples to put these ideas into perspective. Imagine you're practicing daily English conversation with a friend, but instead of jumping in and sharing your thoughts, you pause repeatedly, worrying about whether your sentence is perfect or if you might say something wrong. That hesitation is a classic sign of overthinking. It stops you from engaging naturally and fully. Or consider a situation where you have an important email to send, but you keep rereading and rewriting it, trying to eliminate every possible error before hitting send. That relentless quest for perfection delays your progress and often leaves you feeling stuck. These examples aren't just about language practice. They mirror broader patterns in life. When we recognize that our overthinking is holding us back, just as it might prevent us from speaking freely or acting decisively, we can start taking steps to break the cycle and move forward with more confidence.
Absolutely, Ryan. I've noticed similar patterns in my own life, and they often pop up in unexpected ways. For instance, there have been times when I had a great idea for a project, but ended up hesitating, spending more time overanalyzing every detail than actually starting. It's like when you're about to join a group discussion but worry endlessly about every word you'll say, mirroring that struggle with how to think in English. That kind of mental looping creates a barrier, not just in language learning, but in everyday decision-making too. Recognizing these behaviors is incredibly empowering because it's the moment you realize that the delay isn't due to lack of skill or knowledge. It's simply a pattern of overthinking. Once you see it for what it is, you can work on strategies to bypass the hesitation, step into action, and build confidence over time. This self-awareness is the cornerstone of change, allowing you to move past fear and finally take that decisive leap forward.
Let's kick off this segment by discussing immediate strategies to break the cycle of overthinking. One of the most effective ways to do this is by setting micro goals. Think of micro goals as tiny, achievable steps that you commit to right away, rather than waiting for the perfect plan. For instance, if you're hesitating to start a new project or even to practice your English, begin with one small task. It's a bit like starting with English for beginners. You don't jump into complex sentences without mastering the basics first. This approach helps you to create a do-it-now mindset. Instead of overanalyzing every detail, you focus on one action and take that step immediately. By doing so, you disrupt the endless cycle of thinking and move toward action. This small commitment not only builds your momentum but also reinforces the habit of starting before you feel 100% ready. It's about valuing progress over perfection and taking that first step, no matter how small it may seem.
I completely agree, Ryan. Breaking down tasks into smaller, manageable pieces can really help combat that overwhelming feeling of needing to get everything right from the start. When you commit to just one small action, you're essentially saying to yourself, I'm ready to move forward, even if it's just a little bit. This is similar to how you might approach learning a new language. Starting with simple phrases in English for beginners, before progressing to more advanced conversations. It's a powerful reminder that you don't have to have all the answers or perfect conditions before you begin. By adopting a do-it-now approach, you let go of the need for perfection and focus on progress. Each small action you take not only helps you overcome overthinking, but also sets the stage for larger successes in the future. This mindset shift is crucial because it transforms hesitation into action, allowing you to break free from that paralyzing loop of endless thoughts.
Now let's delve into some practical techniques that can help you implement these strategies effectively. One very practical method is time blocking. This involves scheduling a specific, short period solely dedicated to your chosen task. For example, you could set a timer for 15 or 20 minutes, during which you focus entirely on that one action without interruptions. This method is comparable to techniques used to improve English fluency. Consistent, regular practice, even in short bursts, leads to noticeable improvement over time. By limiting your decision-making time with a timer, you force yourself to act instead of getting lost in endless planning. Another useful strategy is to create a simple to-do list that outlines these micro goals, so you have a clear, actionable plan. When you see your tasks laid out, it becomes easier to commit to them and take that decisive first step. These practical techniques are all about turning the intention to act into real, measurable progress.
That's so true, Ryan. Adding to what you said, another effective strategy is to clearly map out your immediate next steps in a plan, no matter how simple they are. For instance, jot down one goal for the day and then list a couple of very specific actions you can take to achieve that goal. When you write these down, it not only makes the goal tangible, but also reduces the overwhelming feeling of trying to plan everything at once. This is very much like how regular practice sessions, even short ones, help you improve English fluency. Each little effort builds on the last. By scheduling your tasks and setting a timer, you ensure that you're not wasting time deliberating endlessly. Instead, you're actively moving forward, breaking down the overwhelming barrier of overthinking. It's about creating a habit where action becomes your default mode, and over time, these small, consistent actions will lead to significant improvements, both in your personal goals and in areas like your language learning journey.
All right, everyone, let's now look at how to put our ideas into action. Imagine this. You set a clear, specific goal. Maybe it's starting a new habit or launching that project you've been considering. The key is to define exactly what you want to achieve. Once you have that goal in mind, the next step is to plan a mini action. This means breaking that goal into one small, immediate step that you can take right away. Think of it like this. If your goal is to exercise more, your mini action might be simply putting on your workout shoes and stepping outside for a quick walk. It's all about reducing the pressure of doing everything at once and instead focusing on one tiny, manageable step. This approach not only makes it less overwhelming, but also sets the stage for real progress by helping you move forward without waiting for everything to be perfect.
Absolutely, Ryan. Once you've identified your specific goal and planned that mini action, the next step is to commit publicly. Sharing your goal with someone, a friend, family member, or even through social media, creates a sense of accountability that can really boost your motivation. When others know about your intentions, you're more likely to follow through, much like how joining a language practice group can encourage you to speak up and share your ideas. This public commitment is like creating a support network that cheers you on as you take these small steps. Each time you take action, you're building the habit of decisiveness, similar to the steady progress you make when you practice to speak English confidently. Remember, sharing your plans isn't about putting pressure on yourself. It's about setting a clear commitment that makes it easier to move from thought to action.
Let's connect this process to something many of you might be familiar with in your language journey. When you work to speak English confidently, you don't wait until you've mastered everything perfectly. You practice in short, daily sessions, gradually building up your skills. The same principle applies here. Each small step you take, whether it's setting a goal or committing to a mini action, adds up over time, creating a momentum that helps you break free from overthinking. It's like doing a bit of English listening practice every day. The cumulative effect of these efforts leads to noticeable improvement. By taking one tiny action at a time, you're essentially rewiring your habit loop from hesitation to decisiveness. This approach encourages you to move forward, step by step, making it easier to overcome that paralyzing fear of not being perfect.
Exactly, Ryan. Each tiny step you take lays the foundation for a habit of action and decisiveness. By setting a specific goal, planning a mini action, and sharing your commitment with someone, you're actively constructing a framework that empowers you to move beyond overthinking. It's important to celebrate these small victories because they build up over time, much like how consistent daily language practice leads to improved fluency and confidence. Every little action contributes to a larger picture of progress, creating a ripple effect that enhances all areas of your life. So, whether you're aiming to achieve a personal goal or work on your language skills, remember that these simple, structured steps can transform hesitation into momentum. Embrace the process, and soon you'll find that taking action becomes a natural, rewarding part of your daily routine.
Let's talk about how to integrate action into your daily routine. One of the most effective ways to break the cycle of overthinking is by building a routine that dedicates specific times for decision-making and execution. Imagine starting your day by setting aside a few minutes to outline one or two key actions you want to complete. That's your daily checklist. You might also consider keeping a personal action journal where you write down your goals and reflect on your progress at the end of the day. This kind of scheduling creates a structured environment that gently nudges you into action, rather than letting decisions pile up until they become overwhelming. It's similar to how you schedule time to practice your language skills. For instance, using a designated slot each day to work with your favorite learning tools, like the best apps to learn English. Over time, these small steps become habits that drive real progress, helping you move forward even when the perfect moment seems elusive.
That's such a relatable strategy, Ryan. Embedding action into our daily lives is really about setting a recurring appointment with ourselves, making time for decisive moves, just as we make time for language practice. I find that having a consistent schedule helps cut through the noise of endless possibilities. For example, a simple daily checklist can serve as a reminder of what truly needs to get done, allowing you to focus on what matters rather than getting caught up in what-ifs. A personal action journal can work wonders too. Jotting down your thoughts and next steps reinforces that every small effort counts. This is much like when you commit to a daily session with your language learning app. Each session, even if imperfect, builds your fluency and confidence over time. By embedding these practices into your routine, you create a steady rhythm that naturally propels you forward, ensuring that each day brings you a step closer to your goals.
Now, let's explore why consistency matters more than perfection. Often, we hold off on taking action because we're waiting for the ideal conditions or for everything to be just right. But in reality, progress is made through regular, even if imperfect, efforts. Think about your language learning journey. Regularly using the best apps to learn English improves your skills incrementally, even if you stumble along the way. The same goes for any goal. By consistently scheduling time for action, you build habits that lead to substantial results over time. This approach encourages you to move forward no matter how small the step, rather than being paralyzed by the need for perfection. When you focus on consistent progress, you shift your mindset from seeking flawlessness to valuing steady improvement. Over time, these small, regular actions add up, transforming your routine and helping you overcome the inertia of overthinking.
Exactly, Ryan. Embracing consistency over perfection is a game changer. Waiting for the perfect moment is often a trap that leads to endless delays, while taking regular, even imperfect actions sets you on a path of continuous growth. Establishing a daily routine, whether it's through a checklist or a journal, ensures that you're actively engaging with your goals every day. Much like how daily language practice, regardless of the small mistakes, steadily builds your fluency and boosts your confidence, integrating regular action into your routine transforms your mindset over time. Every step, no matter how small, contributes to a larger picture of progress. This approach helps you break free from the habit of overthinking by shifting the focus from achieving perfection to making consistent efforts. In the end, it's those regular, actionable steps that lay the foundation for a more decisive and action-oriented you.
All right, as we reach the final stretch of today's discussion, let's focus on overcoming obstacles and maintaining momentum. One of the most common challenges many of us face is self-doubt and the fear of failure. When you stumble or your plan doesn't work perfectly, it's natural to feel discouraged. However, instead of letting these setbacks stop you, try to reframe mistakes as valuable learning opportunities. Think about how you work to overcome fear of speaking English. Each error is a chance to improve and build your confidence. In the same way, every time you take action and things don't go as planned, you're gaining insight and experience that prepares you for future success. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to grow and learn from each experience. By embracing your missteps, you're turning them into stepping stones rather than roadblocks on your path to progress. Each setback is a lesson in disguise, teaching you what works and what you might do differently next time. This mindset is what will ultimately keep you moving forward, no matter how challenging the journey gets.
Absolutely, Ryan. Building on that idea, let's talk about creating long-term habits that help you stay on track. One effective method is to track your progress regularly. Consider maintaining a personal journal or checklist where you note down your daily actions and reflect on the small wins along the way. This is very similar to building an English vocabulary builder. Gradually adding new words helps you improve over time, and every small action you take contributes to a larger pattern of growth. Reward yourself for even the smallest achievements, because celebrating these moments reinforces the positive behavior. Over time, these consistent efforts, even if imperfect, compound into significant improvements. Just like using the best apps to learn English consistently, your daily actions, no matter how minor they seem, will create lasting progress. The key is to build a routine that values persistence over perfection, ensuring that every day brings you a step closer to your goals.
Now, as we wrap up today's session, I want to encourage you to pick one strategy from our conversation and implement it tomorrow. Whether it's setting a micro goal, starting a personal action journal, or simply dedicating a few minutes to plan your day, taking that first step is crucial. Don't worry about getting everything right immediately. What matters is that you start moving forward. Think of it like your language practice. You might not speak English confidently overnight, but every small effort you make adds up. Each time you act, you chip away at the inertia of overthinking and replace it with momentum. So, take this moment as your cue. Choose one actionable tip, try it out tomorrow, and see how it transforms your approach. Remember, progress is a series of small, deliberate actions that lead to big changes over time.
Before we say goodbye, I want to express our heartfelt thanks for joining us today on Speak Up. We hope that our conversation on overcoming obstacles and maintaining momentum has provided you with practical tools to break free from overthinking and take action in your life. Every misstep is an opportunity to learn, and every small win is a building block for lasting improvement. Keep in mind that our journey doesn't end here. This episode is just the beginning. In upcoming episodes, we'll explore more advanced techniques to help you scale your actions and continue moving forward with confidence. So, as you move into tomorrow, pick one strategy from today's discussion and put it into practice. Remember, the journey to progress is built one step at a time, and we're here to support you along the way. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep turning your challenges into opportunities for growth.